Welcome to the Vinnie Langdon Show, and we got Vinny Vella on the phone here. This is a little bit different, but I said, we really need to get Vinny on the show, and, I figured, I don't got the money right now with this economy to fly to New York to do an interview, so I figured, hey, technology, phone, internet.
It's a little cheaper to do it this way, I think.
I know, right?
But it's okay. Listen, if I was out in California, I would have came to your studio anyway and done it for you.
Hey, I appreciate it, Vinny. So for my viewers who don't know, you are a film actor. You were in Casino, playing Artie. You were in The Sopranos, playing Jimmy. You were yourself in, Coffee and Cigarettes. You had your own documentary.
Kill the Irishman. I played Frankie Brancato with Christopher Walken, Val Kilmer, Ray Stevens, and Paul Sorvino. And it just goes on and on and on and on.
Yeah, so if I remember correctly, I know you had a job where you were transporting celebrities, these A-list celebrities from, sets and transporting them around. And
yeah.
When did you get
What
inspired?
I used to do is I used to have those big recreational vehicles, those big Winnebagos. And when I started, I started working with the fashion industry. That's how it all started. And you know who my partner was? Are you familiar with Baywatch?
Yeah, Baywatch, yes,
okay.
Of course.
Well, are you familiar with Yasmin Bleet?
Okay, all right.
Okay, Yasmin Bleet. Her father was Phil Bleet. He was my partner in the business.
Nice.
And so we used to rent them out to the fashion industry. So every day I used to go to Condé Nast here in the city and pick up these models and drive them to the location, shut up the engine, start up the generator so that they could do their hair and makeup and all that stuff. And every day I used to say that that's the most beautiful one I've ever seen. And then the next day I would say, no, that's the most beautiful one I ever seen. I said that every day for 17 years. And then I started renting them out to the VH1, MTV, and then I started renting them out to movie sets, and that's how it all actually started. Actually, I've done so much work. You want to know something? I'm starting to get a little brain dead. I'm starting to forget what the hell I did.
Hey, and that's not nothing to complain about, right?
No, it's not nothing to complain about. Not at all. Not at all.
There you go. So being wrapped around that whole industry and being around celebrities and actors and crew members and you definitely get in that little mood of being on a set and you were like, hey, I want the spotlight on me and these people look like they're enjoying what they're doing and getting paid for it. And
yeah, that's what, when I used to be behind the cameras and I used to see actors and actresses in front of the cameras and what they were doing, I said, you know what? I belong over there. They belong over here. I know I could do that. And not only do I know I could do it, I could do it better. And so I started, and when I first started going on auditions, I was begging jobs left and right. Because, first of all, I'm not shy. Well, I'm not shy of the camera, and I don't let people intimidate me. Like when you go in front of, if you're auditioning, and there's somebody there with their glasses hanging over their nose, and they got a little clipboard, and they're staring at you. And you know how I look at it. I make believe I'm the teacher, and I'm in front of a classroom, and I'm going to tell them, I'm going to show them the right way to do it. And if you make a mistake, just keep going. Just correct yourself for a moment and keep going. Forget this, oh, I'm sorry, should I start over? Blah, blah, blah. Nah, don't do any of that stuff. Don't start kissing butt. You know what? Go out there. You're the teacher. You're in front of that class. You're auditioning, and you tell them, you show them the right way to do it. And if you can psych yourself into doing that, you got it made. And that's what I used to do. And I was bagging jobs left and right.
so when you were listening and hearing about these auditions, were you reading the New York Times or was it word through mouth?
I was getting it from word of mouth. I heard people say I'm going for the job Casino. It's a very interesting one. I was on the motorhome at that time on the recreational vehicle, and a friend of mine said to me, he said, hey, Vinny, you should go down and audition for this movie, Casino, and they're shooting it in Las Vegas. It's all about wise guys based on a true story. I said, okay, so I took the address, and the very next morning I went. And when I got there was a sign on the door. It said, no further casting. office, and I dropped it off right there, and that's how it all started. Actually, when they said, you have an appointment, because actually when I went into the building, you need an appointment to get into the building to go upstairs. And when I heard the guy at the door say, I'm sorry, do you have an appointment? I said, I tell the people, I said, wait a second, it just cost me $10 to get up here. I got to tell this guy something. So I walked outside, I walked back in because he didn't see me. And I said, hey, how you doing? I said, listen, I forgot to leave this upstairs before when I was there. I said, can I go back up? He goes, you were here before? I said, yeah, look at the book. I signed in, Vinny Vella. He goes, oh, yeah, all right, yeah, go ahead. Okay, go. I blocked him. If he would have looked at that book, probably wasn't there. So I went upstairs and I dropped off my headshot resume, and there was this woman that was like Scorsese's right arm. Her name was Sue Bruno. And when I walked into the office, I dropped off my headshot resume, and she says, what's your name? I said, Vinny Vella. And she was looking at a list of names. I said, you wouldn't have to be looking for my name, would you? She goes, you do have an appointment, don't you? I said, no, I don't. She goes, well, how'd you get in the building? So I don't want to rat on the guy downstairs. I said, well, I had an appointment. I had to go see somebody on another floor. And I figured, if I was here in the building, I could just drop off my headshot resume to you. So she said, well, accept the headshot resume, but you do need an appointment to come in. I said, well, thank you very much. And then it all started from there. That was on a Monday, and then Polaroids. Then they called me up the next day, could you come in? They took a Polaroid picture of me, and then it all started snowballing from there. And then the next thing you know is I had a part, and then they called me up and they said, listen, we're going to upgrade you. We want to make you the underboss of Kansas City, because the part that they auditioned me for was just like a couple of words. But then the next thing you know is I became Artie Piscano, the underboss of Kansas City. And that was the movie that actually put me over the hump. And so that's the movie that put me over the hump. And everything from that point on just started snowballing. And here I am today, talking with Vinny on the phone.
Exactly. Now, what's interesting is you didn't have any idea that was going to be such a hit film. I mean, it could have went the other way down and what it could have been the worst film in history, but you still gave it your all, and you still went for that audition, and you gave everything you got, and hey, turned out pretty well. So that's good advice for those actors out there.
It sure is. And I'll tell you something else, which is a big pat on the back. With all the movies that I've done about 50 some odd movies, and everybody always remembers me from Casino, from that one part, the grocery store with my mother, blah, 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 blah. Now, I've seen Scorsese, he wasn't long, several months ago, and he says, hey, he calls me Vince. Hey, Vince, how you doing? Blah, 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 talking. And he says, I got something to tell you. He says, every time somebody talks to me and they mention the movie Casino that we did, he says, your name always comes up. And that's something, he says, everybody loved what you did. So, I mean, I had, not only did it give me a great part, but it was a very memorable part. And for him to tell me every time the name Casino comes up, about the movie that I did, your name always comes up in there. So I think that was pretty good.
Yeah, and then you went on and you played some other roles. You've done a lot more independent films.
Oh, yeah.
And then HBO comes out with this show called The Sopranos, which there was nothing like that on television, where they were that bold to put stuff like that on,
The Sopranos, I've done about several episodes on it. But to be honest with you, between you and I and the crew, the only time I watched it was only when I was on it. Because I'm not going to put down the show. I mean, it was a great show, good acting and all this other stuff. Except the only thing I didn't like about the show is that what they were doing in the show is actually things that used to take place 30 or 40 years ago. They brought that up to like the way they didn't leave it. I don't know, the way they didn't get a tip or something like that, and they killed the waiter in the yard or something. I don't remember exactly what that was. And all these things that they used to do. James Gandolfini chase somebody on a property with a car, and he gets out on the public property. He gets out, he gives the guy a beating. Those things don't happen today. The things that they were showing you on in Sopranos were things that actually did happen, like in the 30s and 40s. But that show wasn't a period piece. It was like a today piece. But what they did 30 and 40 years ago, that's the only reason why I just couldn't, sit down and watch it all, and really enjoy it as much as I would have liked to. So the only time I watched it is only when I was on it. And everybody says, I ratted everybody out. No, I didn't know. If you see what I was trying to do not now. I don't take pictures now. Or, I'm sorry, I'm in a hurry. You know, people sometimes forget where they came from. And, you know, and if that's the deal, if that's how you feel, you know what goes around comes around. You're not gonna have good luck in this business, you know. And you know, I've just never, I don't refuse. I've never refused anybody, not for that reason. It's just because this is the way I am. You know, I love people. People want an autograph. They want a picture. These are people that enjoy my work. I'm more than happy to give them a picture, an autograph, whatever, a hug. I got these little old ladies grabbing my butt sometimes on the street. I don't care. You know, hey, if it makes them happy, God bless them. I've done some of that. I've worked with the biggest directors. Find me guilty with, you know, with Sidney Lumet, Scorsese, De Niro, Harold Ramis, Jim Jarmusch. You know, it just goes on and on and on. And you know what? Sometimes people, they do big movies and then they don't want to do a smaller independent movie for a lot less money. But you want to know something? Stay out there. Stay out there. It's exposure. It's money. You keep your nose above water. This is a way of giving something back. You get somebody out there that wants to do an independent film that really hasn't done much before, you know, and they're trying to get their feet off the ground. Get my hand, jump in. Now, I mean, I wouldn't do, like if I'm going to do an independent film, naturally I want to know who I'm working with. I mean, I don't want to be working with somebody that's never been in front of the camera before, you know, and unless if I'm doing a little cameo or something like that, you know, but I'll read the script. I won't, you know, I get a little choosy about what I want to do. I just want to make sure I don't get involved in any, like, X-rated films or something. I don't like films where, you know, there's a lot of these mafia films, independent films, and every other word out of their mouth is F, 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 you know, mother F, this, that. You want to know something? You know, that shouldn't happen. You know, if you were down here in Little Italy and you dealt with, and if, you know, wise guys and racketeer guys, they don't talk like that.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of these independent films, no, that's this, that, that's nothing. You know, that doesn't make you look like a wise guy. It makes you look like a jerk. You know, so I cut a lot of that out. Like if I do an independent film and it says, hey, and it has the word F on it, I use the word freaking instead of saying, hey, I'm going to bust his effing head. I'll bust his freaking head.
Yeah.
You know, I keep the curse words out. And I tell them, this is how I want to do it. I don't want to curse. You know, and they accept it because I'm doing a cameo for them. I'm doing them a favor. I am getting paid for it. Might be very little, but it keeps my nose above water. And, you know, and it keeps everything nice. You know, I'm always out there. I'm always out there doing independent films, bigger films, interviews, appearances. Hey.
Just got to keep yourself out there.
People are loving it, and I'm loving it just as much as they're loving me.
That's great. Now, you also worked on a documentary of yourself, and what was behind that? What did you really want to show the audience? Did you want to show, you wanted to make it for, you know, your family, for generations down the line, or did you want to say, hey, I'm Vinny Vella, I'm a film actor?
Well, I'll tell you, there was a time when I was working on the motorhomes. Now we're going to back up quite a bit, and there was this guy named John Hubbard. And he was a director, he was a photographer, and then he started getting into camera work, and he says, you know, one of these days, you know, he says, you know what I'd like to do? He said, I'd like to do like a story on you. That's how we approached it. And then later on, he started shooting commercials for Old Navy, and started making, you know, a lot of money. So he was doing shooting two commercials a month or one a month for Old Navy. He started making a lot of money. And then he says, you know what, I want to do like a documentary on you. And we did it, and it was called Hey Vinny. And it was like from, they started off where I was a kid. Well, pictures and stories of me walking in the street, showing pictures and meeting people from when they knew me from when I was a kid up until where I was at that time when it ended. And
right.
This is a documentary that's now about 7 years old. Mm-hmm. And that was called Hey Vinny. And that was quite a bit of a documentary. They ran it here on TV for a couple of years on Metro Television. And They
Right.
were watching this all over. And now, actually, you want to know something? I got some people right now, they're in the process of putting together another one. But this is going to be called The Mayor of Little Italy, Who's Better Than You?
There you go. Nice.
And so now we already started shooting, and there's going to be a lot of editing involved. And so we're in the process of trying to put that together. And they're working around my schedule because I've been pretty busy, with work, So as long as people are willing to work around my schedule, hey, that's great. I'm there for them.
So recently you worked on a film called Kill the Irishman alongside with Christopher Walken. A lot of people, of course, know him. And tell us about that project. Did you actually really go to Cleveland and film that?
No, we shot that in Detroit.
Okay.
We shot that in Detroit. I was there for 5 weeks with Christopher Walken, Val Kilmer, Ray Stevenson, Paul Sorvino, Robert Davi, Tony Bubianca, Tony Darrell. There was a pretty big cast there. Most of them, a lot of them did cameos, like Paul Sorvino, Tony Darrell, and a few others. If you look at the movie and look at it close, I'm in the whole movie from beginning to end. The first half of the movie, you've seen me coming and going with hijacking and doing this and doing that. And then the second half of the movie, I'm not a very nice guy, but they kept me for the whole 5 weeks, which I loved. I was there for the whole 5 weeks, and it was dynamite. Cleveland, not Cleveland, Detroit is a weird city, man. Like you wake up and you go outside and just think of yourself in Times Square, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a nice sunny day, and you open up your eyes and there's nobody around you. Everything is all boarded up.
Wow.
Scary looking city, but that's a whole other point, And but anyway, I liked it. There was a few things to do. There was a casino there, and good food. As long as you stood in the hotel, you don't really want to walk around and go for walks in that neighborhood. You might not come back in one piece, but that's a whole other story again. I don't want to always stick with these mafia films and all these bad films. I've done other films where I played a father, where I played an uncle, where I played a good guy. I don't want to be typecast always as a wise guy, because I'm not a wise guy at all. I lived in Little Italy all my life. I lived around wise guys all my life. But you want to know something? I'm a lover. I'm not a fighter. I see an argument happening on the street. You know what I do? I walk to the other side of the street. I keep walking. Don't even look. Don't look back. Because if you see people talking, you see people fighting, you look at them, they're going to shift out you're looking at, and next thing you know, you're involved. You know what? Mind your business. Keep walking. This way you keep your nose clean, and nobody has nothing to say about nobody has nothing bad to say about you.
Yeah.
But like I said, I played a lot of other roles besides wise guy. Wise guy I happen to do very well because I grew up around them all the time. I grew up around them all my life, and I've seen how they act, I see how they talk, I see how they look, and I can't help the way I look and the way I talk. I can't help my voice, and that's why they were always grabbing me for all these mobster films. I don't mind, but I keep it clean because if I have to change the script a little bit, I will. And I'll tell you another good thing about actors and actresses. When sometimes you go to a set and then all of a sudden you see them meditating in the corner. They're trying to memorize their lines before they go in front of the camera. You know what? When you get homework, when you're in school, you do your homework at night. When you come to work in the morning, you should have that all down. You shouldn't have to go in the corner and start meditating, whatever. You know that when I got homework, I got a job that I'm going to be doing next month. I play a boxing promoter the 25th, 26th, and 27th of November.
Uh-huh.
I play a boxing promoter. It's not much, not a big role. It's a cameo that I'm doing. I play a boxing promoter. I got about 15 paragraphs. They're not very big. And you know what? I'm studying them now.
Yeah.
They're like 1 or 2 liners. You know why? Because when I get to the set, I want it down. I don't have to go in the corner and start doing. When you get homework, you do it at night. You don't do it when you come to the classroom in the morning. This is what you want to do for a living, and give it 100%. give it 90. You got to give it 100.
If not, get
And
out of there.
that's
Yeah.
how I look at it. And I do my work. I do it well, and that's why I'm always working.
Right. And it makes the character come into alive too, because you don't have these second thoughts like, oh, well, maybe I should be this type of guy or this type. No, you should already know before you get to the set. And
There you go.
there you go.
And I don't normally do plays because this is a play that I'm going to be doing where I play a boxing promoter. And I'm not really into plays, but I've done a lot of commercials. I've done 51 ESPN commercials. I've done Touched by an Angel. Touched by an Angel, is that what it was called? Touched by an Angel?
Yeah, I think so.
Something like that?
Right.
Touched by an Angel. I've done Dr. Levi. You know, I've done a lot of commercials. But plays, nah, I really haven't. Except I've done a play, it was about 7 or 8 years ago, when I played Calvin Klein. You know, me, Tommy Hilfiger, and 4 of us were all sitting around a table all deciding something about dungarees. Who knows what the hell was that? I even forgot. But I played Calvin Klein, and I had to do that for a week. You know, one of those something. It's kind of nice, you know, you do it in front of a live audience. But plays are really not for me.
Right.
And you know what? This is only a 3-day play. It's a boxing promoter. And, you know, something, I said, you know, I want to give it a shot. Let's do it again. You know? Because I did like it a little bit being in front of a live audience and all that, you know. But then again, even when you do movies, you got a live audience, you got 100 people watching you. It's the same thing. Except over here, they pay you to come to see you, you know, and they want to take pictures with you and all that stuff. So, hey, you know, I'm loving it just as much as they are.
That's awesome. Now we're going to close it out with Vinny Vella. Let's talk briefly about your public access TV show, self-titled. Hey, guy's name's Vinny. Good title for a show, right?
It's called The Vinny Vella Show.
All right. So what do you do on your show? Is it a talk show?
Well, it's a variety show, and I've had some of the biggest actors on my show. I've had top models on my show. I've had the Sopranos, half of the Sopranos on my show. I have directors and producers and writers of people that are putting movies together. Like, in other words, if I do a movie, I let them come on my show eventually after they edited it, and they want to show clips and promote the movie and stuff like that. I've had top models on there. I've had I've had the best of people. I've had what's her name, Frederica Victoria's Secrets, and it just goes on and on and on. I've had half of the Sopranos. I've had Frank Vincent. I've had Federico Castellucci, Vince Coratolo, Dominic Chinese. And I have one of the highest ratings of the M&N shows here on the East Coast.
Nice.
And
that's great.
you know, I love what I do. People like me. I want to be out there for them. But if I want to come to California, I'm coming on your show.
Hey, let's do it. All right. All right, Vinnie Vella here on the Vinnie Langdon Show. And Vinnie, can't wait to see your show here in California coming soon. Vinnie Vella Show. Check your local listings in Northern California. Vinnie, thanks so much for taking the time to do this.
You're quite welcome, and my best to everybody in California. And I hope that when I do come to California, when I come to your show, I hope that you can get people to come on down to your studio. I'd love to meet them all and take pictures with them and shake hands.
All right, sounds good. We'll talk to you soon, Vinny.
All right, Vin, you take care, and my best to everyone.
All right.
Good luck with your show.
Thank you. We'll talk to you soon.
You got it. Take care.
All right, bye.